Hi, today I am talking about two kind of concepts that relate, which are institutional racism and intersectionality. Ultimately, I wanted to talk about this because often we um, talk about institutional racism as something that only affects certain groups, only affects certain, often racial groups, given its name. But it has a lot of overlap into intersectionality. So, I was wanting to discuss The Gendered Suspect by, and I'm probably going to say this wrong, Lele Amiriar. I'm going to call her Amiriar. I hope I'm saying that right. Amiriar discusses a lot of the way that South Asian and kind of perceived Middle Eastern people are discriminated against. Amiriar says that there are kind of these two racialized categories. Um, the Middle Eastern women and Middle Eastern men. And they kind of fall under different stereotypes. Middle Eastern men are often stereotyped as terrorists and oppressors, whereas the women are stereotyped as victims and as victims of an oppressive patriarchal society. Now, this kind of relates heavily to intersectionality. Because intersectionality is the idea that if you are the intersection of two discriminated against groups, then you are going to receive different discrimination. At least it's the kind of surface view of it. And initially, this kind of seems to disagree with um, what intersectionality really refers to. Because in a way, it can seem like the uh, apparent Middle Eastern men are receiving more discrimination. I think that this is because, well, Amiriar's paper kind of made it feel as though this is because there's this view in a lot of Western society that women are gentle, fragile, they couldn't create or do harm. Um, and so therefore, when there's this idea of Muslims and correspondingly the perceived Middle Eastern people are terrorists, this false idea, women are kind of excluded from that. But that doesn't mean that they are completely excluded from any institutionalized racism because they experience it just in a really different way. Um, because they are viewed as gentle or fragile, they're viewed as a victim, whereas men are viewed as terrorists. And that kind of, it's important to notice for that reason that it's not that men or women are getting discriminated against, but that more or less than the other. But Amiriar kind of highlights that both are being discriminated against in different ways. And that doesn't mean one is being discriminated more than the other. And it's important to understand intersectionality as a way to see the um, see what racism, including institutional racism, is happening against these people. Not that one group is more discriminated against than another.